Welcome to another episode of Business Roaches, where we talk about how to survive, or at least our stories about survival, this wonderful world of entrepreneurship. So welcome. Today I have a great prompt for you. So it's going to be funny. Can you talk about how and why trusting your gut is more important than trusting your advisors? And I laugh because Hannah's very big on mentorship, and we have had advisors in the past, and sometimes they're wrong, and that's okay. They're humans, right? So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think what I've learned in doing this, 4.5 years full time, almost 10 years part time, is that
5 years full time, definitely.
October 2025 will be 5 years.
Okay, fine. 4.5.
So 4.5. So what I've learned in doing this for, almost 5 years full time is that no one knows your business more than you. And it makes obvious sense, but especially when you're starting out, you're looking for help. You're looking for your mentors, advisors, other founders to give you some advice. And I think that's actually extremely valuable. I think taking inputs from other successful people, very valuable. Yeah. However,
and other founders.
And other founders, definitely.
Definitely founders.
And I mean, there's so many inputs you require and you should be listening to, but you can never take everyone 100%.
No.
Never. Because there's something about, it's a weird thing. And I don't even I'm a data-driven person. I don't like saying trust your gut in that way, but there's something about your gut when you're an entrepreneur. You know more. And it's because you're living it day in and day out, and you have this vision, and I think no one can ever replicate that vision. You can explain your vision all day, right? Yeah. We have a shared vision for the business, but our mentors and advisors we've had in the past, or ones we currently have, they get the vision, they hear the vision. It's not the same.
They like the vision.
Yeah, they agree with it. They believe in us.
They
love us,
yeah.
right? But there's something about your gut, you just know. You just fucking know
the
answer sometimes. And the moments that we've at all doubted our gut, we've been fucked.
Yeah.
And it's wild because I appreciate the inputs, but that's what I've learned. I've learned absolutely take advice. Listen to everyone. Really
hear
do.
It. Don't listen. Hear it.
Yeah. Take it in, acknowledge, understand why and where it's coming from and how it could potentially help you.
Yeah.
But don't take everything 100%. No one knows like you do.
It can be really hard because as a founder, you're always hearing you don't know everything. And of course we don't. Nobody knows everything, not even advisors and not even a board. And we've been really lucky. We've never had a board.
A formal board. Yeah.
No, never a formal board. We've been very careful about who we listen to.
Yeah.
And, there have been times when we have been fucked by listening to the wrong advice. In many cases, whether it's a new hire who was an expert in
XYZ.
Yeah. And, there's nothing like you said, you live and breathe this. Nobody cares about this, especially I would say when you're bootstrapped like us, it's your money that you're putting up and your vision and your time.
Yeah.
And I think too, again, just to go even more personal, when you're a mom too, you're also sacrificing your time with your kids or whatever it might be. Cause this is not a 9-to-5. So I think you just have to be really careful about who you're taking advice from. Some people who have sold companies struck gold and they may, they may not really be an expert, and you just have to be careful. So I love hearing the words that people are saying. I think you can never just listen.
You have to have a filter.
You have to be does this apply to me? Does this apply to my business? Does this work within the time frame that we're in right now? Because marketing landscapes change. Everything changes. The atmosphere, the climate, the economic climate, things change. Technologies change. So listening to sometimes some gray-haired wisdom is great, and sometimes can really not work and not be for the times, right?
Yeah. I think too, I always remember we went to a founder dinner in Brooklyn, and there was a really successful pharmaceutical device entrepreneur there who had sold his company to a big pharma and was set. He, crazy number. And
I flew in to help founders because he's just such a sweetheart.
Yeah. And I remember he was and it's so funny because as an entrepreneur, and especially I went to business school, so I went to the traditional, you need a board, you need this, you need the business plan.
I went to art school, so color and
and painting.
Yeah, literally.
But it's so funny because it's you get groomed in this way, and then even just the startup atmosphere, it's well, your advisors, you're this, which there's a place and a time for sure, but I love this guy. I will always remember one of the most successful people I think I've ever been in a room with, truly. And he's Yeah, I don't believe in the traditional advisor bullshit. No. Literally no. Use who you need, find the right people, have a great network, talk to founders, talk to each other. Like,
Founders
you can help each other, lift each other up. Like, you know, and we are lucky we have a co-founder to talk to and figure things out with. Like, and that was like really interesting to me that like someone so successful was saying something so like anti, you know, foundational entrepreneurship setup, you know? So
I think this goes really nicely into our backgrounds, because you're talking about, you're like a traditional, like actually when we started Happy Box, you were like, what's the business plan? We don't have the business plan. We don't have this, da, da, da. And that makes total sense because you're like MBA. And I'm kind of like, who fucking is going to ask us for our business plan? No one's going to be like, you're starting a business? Let me see that business plan.
Yeah.
And like, unless you're looking for, of course, unless you're like looking for money and, you know, all the things.
Yeah, there's certain.
Yeah, there's, I'm sure, but I don't know because I like didn't go to business school. But, but like, it's so funny how I think that's like how our backgrounds are so different. And like, I mean, literally, I took painting twice a week for 7 hours a day and like did not know a thing about business. And I think that is such an edge.
Yeah, but I also think there's like a lot of discipline in art school that like is not like there is though. You can what like there is. You told me about your art history classes and stuff. Like there's a lot of discipline in at least the art school. You went to a very prestigious art school, so
well, I mean,
like
it was the best in the country. I don't know.
But that's like there's
shout out to Parsons School of Design.
There is a lot of discipline in that too, and the creative problem solving that you learned. I remember you coming home with like projects, like physical building projects, and I'm like, that's why you're so good at business, is because you have always had to creatively problem solve something spatially, yes, maybe physically in art school, but also like your brain works that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what's interesting about the like not trusting or not necessarily like listening to like all this advice too is like what I learned is I remember so in MBA whatever like I was very traditional, right? So you get the like to me it was giving me some tools and connections. That's what it did more than tell me the blueprint for starting Happy Box. Like I would argue starting a business is your MBA. You don't need an MBA. Just start a business and you'll learn everything.
The hard way.
but way better versus like the account, like the balance sheet for Joe's Crab Shack in the book. Like it's not the same as when it's your money and your business. But also, I remember reading, I remember telling you this, I took an agile development class, which was like so out of my knowledge. I'm not a developer. I'm not in IT in any way. I had no background. I took like a Coursera agile development class and I read the book, The Lean Startup. And the Lean Startup's entire thing is, no, MVP. MVP, move on. MVP, just go. And that was like a huge, you always instilled that in me. The book instilled in me. That changed my perception. And that's also why I think you can't listen to anything, right? Because you're always freaking changing.
I think that's why, like, even when we've had multiple people who have advised us, I'll say that, like, again, no board.
In some capacity.
Someone. I've always had a little shed of doubt with everyone. And I think because, and I don't know, like, it's probably wrong. It's probably just, like, maybe I think I'm, like, smarter than them, which, again, I don't actually. I just think that I know more about this one specific thing that is Happy Box. I do know more about this one specific thing because I've been living it, breathing it, eating it, sleeping, everything.
But you also have the vision. You have the vision for what could be.
Yes. But I think like my whole, like every time we've had someone we've talked to who's like given us advice, I've heard it and I've been like, yes, that makes sense. That's why you're saying that, but it doesn't apply to me. And like, I think they always pick up on that with me. Don't you think?
Yeah, but I would argue.
How many times on a call I'd be like, well, Ariel's she doesn't believe me at all. And I'm like, no, I don't.
Well, you wear your heart on your sleeve.
Well, I think I believe in very productive conversations. I don't think that anything is like.
But I'll push back on at that same Brooklyn founder night.
That's founders. That's different.
But he was advising us. I'm telling you, think of all, forget.
No.
We have never had traditional advisors, really ever, right? So I would argue we haven't. Like, not really. Like, we don't have a board. We have always used various inputs, which I think is the right thing for us, for our business and for us and for the way we work. I think that's the right thing. But like someone there who he does advise, right? He gave us really good advice that we did absolutely use. So I think there's like, I don't think it's necessarily that every single person you talk to, you're a grain of salt. I think
it's specific.
And I think you have a filter for Happy Box. Yeah. Like, it's not, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I think, like, I also think, for us, I
just
think
heard it a lot that they're like, oh, Ariel.
The most productive conversations we have are with other founders.
Well, it's because they're building, they understand. So
or they're a founder that's maybe 5 years ahead of us, 10 years ahead of us.
Yeah, I love those founders.
Yeah.
Because they will
that's the best kind of mentor.
They will watch out. Hey, listen, do X, Y, and Z right now. You'll thank me in 5 years. Yeah. Let me tell you, every single time they're right. Every time. Every time we talk to a founder, I hate to say it because this is actually countering everything I just said. But founders...
That's what I'm saying.
But they're not advisors. That's different. Advisors are different. Advisors are out of the game a little bit. A little bit.
Yes, but
and they are giving their opinion as an outsider. A founder is giving their opinion as someone who's building something right the fuck now and is going through something that they're warning you about. How many times have we done that for people?
I think you're getting stuck on the word like advisors, like whatever. But like, I think we're talking about advice, external advice.
Oh no, I was talking about advisors. Advice,
but advisors like who have a board and have like, because there are some advisors who they have a percentage, they're investing. There's different forms, right? So it's not all exclusively the same.
I think we'll end the episode here. Be very careful about who you listen to and what advice you're taking at whatever point in time. I think people who are in the game, founders. Absolutely. You're living something that like right now I just heard one of our girlfriends, her brother just got sued like to oblivion because of trademark infringement. And like there's just something that he knows that he would warn us about probably. Do you know what I'm saying? Not that it's completely applicable for us, but just someone who's going through something as a founder building something.
There's nothing like that advice.
There's nothing like that advice because they are going through it. It's not like they're like, well, I would do this. They're saying, I am living this. I am going through it. Yeah. It's very different than someone who thinks they understand what you're going through, what you're building, thinks they understand the vision, has an idea of what the vision should be, but it's your vision. So never lose sight of the fact that it's your vision. And you're living it, and you have to trust your gut more than anything. And sometimes advisors, you can listen and take a piece of it. Maybe it's 10%, maybe it's 90%, but just make sure you have your filter on and you're trusting yourself. Yeah. Because too often do we really hear that like, oh, well, they said this, so I'm going to do that. And it's like, well,
it's
that's
not
like,
exactly.
It's just not going to be.
No one can give you a blueprint to do something innovative either. Yeah. That's the other thing. Like, I remember Sarah Blakely said this, and it always stuck with me, is like, you will always have like, people will always doubt or question because it's not been done. If you're doing something truly innovative, people are like, that's not how you do it.
Yeah.
Of course. That's such an obvious thing. That's the point. But like the entrepreneur says, yeah, that's the fucking point. The traditional person who's trying to follow a path or a blueprint is like, that's not how you do that. And that's like, that's death to a startup idea. Yeah. That's death to an entrepreneur.
You gotta find your people. Yeah. You gotta find who you're gonna believe in and who understand the vision from like from what you want, not from what they want or what they traditionally.
And that's the gut feeling. Yeah. That's the gut feeling.
So that's the takeaway.
Yeah.
For this episode. It's trust your gut. Don't just blindly listen to people, even if they're really successful on paper.
And smart, yeah.
And really smart and you really trust them. That's cool. All those things are great. You can listen. But do not just go and execute. You have to think about, is this applicable? Does this align with my vision? Is this what I should be doing? Knowing what you know, because no one knows anything like you.
And it's funny because like I would just like to end on this thought. It's like, if we were to listen to some of the advice we got in, we would have been dead in the water.
100 years ago.
Like easily 3-4 years ago.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Wild. Okay, what's our win of the week? You have a win? And we always do a win of the week at the end of every episode because being an entrepreneur has lots of lows.
Mostly lows.
Mostly lows. Some highs, and the highs are really nice, but we are trying to get in the habit of celebrating every little win so we can celebrate the little highs too.
Our win of the week is when you're bootstrapped, you take on debt. And that's just like what you have to do, right? Lines of credit, capital.
And we're inventory heavy.
And we, have hired for growth and all the things. We are currently at our lowest point of debt than we've ever had in our business.
That's a huge win.
Which is huge. Yeah, it's really big. So that's exciting. It's, cash flow is always a concern when you're a bootstrap startup. So that is like never going away. That hopefully, maybe next week that'll be a win, but it's not.
What an episode when cash flow is not a problem.
Oh my God. That'll be, every founder will tune into that one. But right now I think like we're on such a great track. And I think it's a testament to, we've put ourselves through hell, but it's
a cockroach.
Yeah, you gotta be a roach. Be a little disgusting cockroach who won't
claw your way.
Yeah, claw your way out of whatever. So I think that is the win. Is that our debt is
at its lowest point,
and going down. We're about to pay off one of our biggest loans, so we're really excited about that.
It's great.
Okay, well that's probably TMI, and we probably shouldn't share that. But hey, thanks for tuning in.